What is up, everybody? Sean Sheehan here for SevereMMA.com, joining you today with an interview with Paddy Pimblett before Cage Warriors Dublin. I'm going to throw it over to that interview now. Just to let you know, it cuts out a little abruptly at the end. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we'll get straight into it here with my interview with Paddy the Paddy Pimblett. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to SevereMMA.com, and in the lead up to Cage Warriors Dublin this weekend, I am delighted to be joined by the former Cage Warriors featherweight champion, Paddy Pimblett, as we look ahead to the card. Paddy, it's early Monday morning here for us mad MMA people. I appreciate you joining me. How are things?
I'm all right. Got out of bed about half an hour ago. We go good.
Yeah, you got out earlier than me, so you did a good job there. Come here, like obviously you know you're in the UFC now, but you've been commentating on Cage Warriors and obviously staying in tune with the scene. This Dublin card, obviously it's a massive card, and us here in Ireland we're madly looking forward to it. But for yourself, you know, who's been watching the likes of Jimmy Wallhead, the likes of Rhys, McKee for a long time, and some of the up and comers as well, how much are you looking forward to it?
It's going to be a good card, lad. There's a lot of good experience on it, as well as young up and comers on it. So it's got a mixture of everything, really.
You obviously, you know, there's not many Liverpool fighters on this card, if any, but there was a couple last week as well, the likes of Nathan Fletcher and others. For the people in your gym, to see them kind of coming through and to see that, like, the process that your gym has been putting into all of these fighters after yourself and after Molly, how good is it to see those next level of fighters coming through?
It's spectacular, you know what I mean? We've seen them since they were young'uns. Like, I went to gym for the first time when I was 15. I think, like, Nathan come to Next Gen the first time when he was 16, 17. Luke Riley come when he was, like, 16. So we've all basically grew up in the gym. Adam Cullen's the same, another one been coming since he was about 16. All of us have basically grew up in Next Gen, so it's just one big family now.
How good is it for you as well to have those training partners kind of at the ready there? I know you bring in Chase Blair and other people as well, but it must be great for you to have a new wave of monsters coming through and new people to kind of spar with and roll with all the time.
Yeah, that's what I need, lads. Leading up to my last fight, lad, I tried to get sparring partners in the UK and everyone blanked me, so I had to use everyone in our gym.
Is that an issue for you getting sparring partners? I know even, you know, here with Connor and stuff, it's, you know, I when he went places, I'm sure he tried to roll the people and get sparring partners, but the danger is you spar with someone, next thing it's up in social media and it's all over the place. Is that something that's been an issue for you?
No, because that's just a respect thing with social media, you know what I mean? You don't put sparring rounds on social media, you know what I mean? That's just a respect thing. Like, there's only one person said yes to sparring me in my last camp, and it was Thomas Paul. And I've got the rounds on my phone there, but never shared them anywhere. You know what I mean? That's just a respect thing. It's just what you do when someone agrees to spar with you. On
Cage Warriors itself, you know, I remember a couple of years ago I interviewed Ian Gary, and he said that Cage Warriors is the route for him to get to the UFC, and we see where obviously that's taking him now. The same with yourself, and I remember he said going to Bellator, no one grows up in the morning dreaming of playing for Barnsley, and you got involved in the comment section, and I know there was a lot. But for you, like someone who has taken that route, is that something you still feel strongly about? That, like, okay, you're not going to be, well, you're the exception, but a lot of people are not going to be getting paid very well in Cage Warriors. I was talking to Graham Byland the other day, and he isn't even denying this. He said it himself. This is the route to take if you want to get to the very top. All your guys coming through in your gym and fighters coming through, is that the way you think they should be going, the Cage Warriors route?
Yeah, that's the route we take. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. If you look at all our fighters, all our young ones coming up, we all take the Cage Warriors route. I think anyone that doesn't take the Cage Warriors route is quite stupid when you're on the UK scene. You know what I mean? Because it's proven, it's tried and tested. You know what I mean? You get on a win streak on Cage Warriors, or you win a belt and defend it a few times, you get signed to the UFC. Like, you see a lot of people getting signed from other organisations and they can't cope with the pressure, they can't cope with the moment when they get in the UFC. That's because other shows don't give evenly matched fights like Cage Warriors do in the build-up to getting into the UFC.
What do you think, like the likes of Bellator, the likes of PFL and others offering great money to people who are, you know, maybe 1 or 2-0 as a pro? Like, if you had been offered that in your time, do you think it might have been a tougher decision to make than going the Cage Warriors route?
Yeah, of course it would have been a tougher decision. You know what I mean? I was walking away from MMA at 4-1 because I wasn't getting paid enough. You know what I mean? I was going to quit MMA when I was 18 at like 4-1. Like, because I wasn't getting paid anywhere near enough. I was getting paid like £500 a fight or something stupid like that. And it wasn't enough. So I can understand a lot of fighters now that are going to PFL and are going to Bellator. But if you've got a dream that you want to be in the UFC, that I think 99 out of 100 MMA fighters, the dream's to be in the UFC. No one gets, as Ian said, no one gets up in the morning and goes, oh, I want to fight for Bellator or me. Or, oh, I want to fight for PFL. The only reason people go to PFL is to try and win the $1 million with easier fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny because, you know, you look at the situation you got and others where they're able to earn big money, but as you said, you nearly finished up when you were 4-1. Connor is the same. I was talking to Oban Elliott the other day, and he's working on the railways at night time just to trying to keep enough money to keep going. Is there anything you think that could kind of change, that could help fighters? I know it's easy to say maybe pay more or whatever, but is there something like a sort of fundamental change you would like to see happen over the next few years to help the up-and-coming fighters?
I really don't know. Like, I think the only way you could probably do it is like the way people talk about a union. I think that's basically the only way you could do it. But for shows in the UK, like Cage Warriors and stuff like that, I don't know. I think they pay what they can. They're not like a multi-billion-dollar company like the UFC. But as I say, I don't know, lad, the business side of things. I'm not that clued up on the logistics, but I just know that you can't be paying people who are like 2-0 who fought on a regional show. You can't start offering them 10-10 to fight in some sports hall in Scotland.
100%. On yourself, I know you had you were due to have the operation here recently. Did you have that operation? How is the ankle feeling now, and what's kind of the prognosis, I suppose?
Yeah, I had surgery 7 weeks ago, so still in like a boot. Just got to get on with it for now.
Is it kind of in the physio every day? Is it just healing at the moment? What I suppose stage
just
you at
healing,
the moment?
yeah. I only done my first physio session on Thursday. Like, I had to just let it heal. I couldn't do anything. Like, if the wound gets infected, I have to get the surgery again.
Okay, so have you any idea when you're going to get back to like sparring and obviously be able to fight again?
No idea.
How was it frustrating at the weekend seeing Jared Gordon fight? Obviously, he fought Bobby Green. The way that fight ended was obviously a bit odd, but what was your reaction when watching that fight?
I didn't really care, to be honest. My reaction more was people's reaction after it. Pissed me off. You know what I mean? It's mad, lad. Bobby Green stands there with his hands down, getting left hooked by Jared Gordon, and it gets called a cycling masterclass. But I stand there getting left hooked and I'm shit. So, you know, people have got their own provocative.
Do you feel like that's a thing that has been a massive criticism of you since you've came? Like, I've been obviously following your career in Cage Warriors, and a lot of people who follow your career in Cage Warriors have, you know, we expected everything, I suppose, to happen with all the media, with all the talk about you and all, because you're one of those people, you know, you draw people to care. But the fact, you know, and people always cared, even when you were in Cage Warriors and all that, but the fact now it's like just risen 1,000%. Is that something you're kind of finding hard to deal with? I was speaking as well to Graham about it, and he says, like, it must be tough for anyone to deal with that amount of backlash, I suppose. And is that something you found tough?
No. I've been dealing with shit like this for years, lad. You know what I mean? Look, and that post I put on the Cage Warriors forum when I was 16, that got enough responses. I'm used to this shit, lad. People can say what they want about me. Like, it's never going to change me.
So the two fights I would kind of put together, maybe a lot of people wouldn't be able to do this, but the Julian Erosa fight and the Jared fight, obviously, you know, two very close decisions. There was a lot of backlash after. I was even caught up a little bit. I caught a few strays after the first one even, but then the Jared Gordon one as well. Talk to us about the difference between the two of them. You know, very similar sort of fights. You got over the line, you know, we can talk about the decision all we want, but the difference between that happening in Cage Warriors and the difference between it happening in the UFC must have been absolutely massive.
Yeah, massive. I'll be honest, I think the Julian Erosa fight's closer than the Jared Gordon fight. I think now, personally, if we were using the new judging criteria, Julian and Rose would have beat me that night. Definitely.
And it was only a few weeks before the criteria changed, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was at the end of 2016, yeah.
Literally, if that Julian and Rosa fight was when the judging criteria changed, I would have lost that fight 100%. Because I won the first 3 rounds because of control, taking them down, getting on top of them, making them feel me weight. I know for a fact now if that fight was like now, me versus Rosa, and the fight played out exactly the same, he would get the nod, 100%. Just like I think with the Jared Gordon fight, he'd get the nod if it was like that then, because of the way he just held me in the 3rd round. But I've watched the fight back with Jared. I think I won the first 2 rounds. And then I think he like the only round in my eyes that he can give to someone 100% and say that's their round is the 2nd for me. The 3rd round, he doesn't even do nothing. He just pushes me against the cage. And the 1st round is close.
How big is it for you to actually pay attention to the judging criteria? Because I've interviewed a lot of fighters talking about this judging criteria, and no one has made a point like you've made there, which is, about the Rosa fight, which is absolutely perfect about that fight. I actually thought you won the 3rd round against Jared Gordon as well, because I don't really think he did much. I think the 1st round and the 2nd round we can talk about it another time, but is that something you've really looked into, the judging criteria, and paid attention to? Because it seems like you have.
It's just a little bit, know what I mean? You've got to... Years ago when the judging criteria changed, it was on the flat. I'll never forget it. When the judging criteria changed, as you say, it was a few weeks before the Rosa fight. I mean, a few weeks after, because I'll never forget to being at a Shinobi show in the December, because I fought a Rosa in the November, didn't I? I can remember there being a Shinobi show in the December, and Matt Bonner, who is now one of my teammates, fought someone when he wasn't a teammate, fought Dylan McLaughlin from our gym, who was a teammate at the time. And lad, it was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in my life. Bonner sat on top of him for 15 minutes, punching him, ground and pounding. I'll never forget it, because I walked away from the cage before the decision got announced. I walked away and went, Dylan got beat there. And as I would come in the changes, Dylan stormed in, threw his gloves off and went, lad, I've just won that. And I went, what? He went, lad, I've just won that fight. And he was even disappointed. You know what I mean? Threw his gloves. And I'll never forget, it was before Bonner even came to our gym. I was in the foyer, because it was in a sports hall. And his mum's come out shouting, how's he just lost that fight? And I just walked over and said, listen, love, I'm the other kid's teammate, but your son won that fight. Don't worry about it. He won that fight. And then Bonner come over and shook me hand. And then obviously we're mates and that now, because he trains with me every day. But that's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Because Dylan was going for submissions off his back and the judging criteria had only just been changed, he got given the subs. I mean, the win for going for subs. Someone said it to me after the fight with Jared Gordon. Someone said, because I went, he definitely won the 3rd round. And someone that was stood with me turned to me and went, you do know he only landed 3 significant strikes in that 3rd round. I went, what? You know what I mean? He was holding me against the cage, but landed 3 significant strikes when I was just kneeing him to the body, and every chance I got hitting him. So, as I say, people can talk about decisions all they want. It's not going to change nothing. No one's going to go back and change that decision. You know what I mean? I won. 3 people's opinions who matter are the 3 people sitting cage side, the judges, and they give it to me, lad, unanimously. So, the way people are saying it's the worst robbery of all time, and that you can tell they're brand new to the sport and they've never seen Shogun versus Machida.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the worst robbery of all time anyway. There's no doubt about that. Do you think
it's a close fight? I don't understand how you can call a close fight a robbery. I thought there was worse robberies on fucking UFC London, lad, watching some of them decisions.
Do you think what happened during the week had a lot to play into it? Obviously, you had the Dana White interview, which was controversial. You had the Ariel stuff, which was very controversial.
The Ariel stuff, lad. People turned on me for telling the truth about Ariel, lad. It's crazy. You know what I mean?
What do you? Are you still of the same mind about all of that stuff? Obviously, Ariel came out and he did his show, and he said he produced receipts and all, played voice notes and all of that.
I've got all that. You know what I mean? I've got all that on my phone. When this receipts thing's the maddest shout ever. You know what I mean? The voice note's the funniest, because I said about coming to see him. I don't say on that voice note, I will come on the MMA Hour. I say, what are you doing? Do you want to meet up? Because at the time, I actually considered Ariel a friend. But obviously, I was never a friend to him. He just saw me as a part-time.
What do you think about that? Like, obviously, you made the joke afterwards. Then I'm not getting paid for this interview and all of that. Like, it's something that obviously was part of your fight week. Did it badly affect you, or what way did you feel that way?
My foot affected me in the first round when I kicked him off. That was what affected me. You know what I mean? The only annoying thing about that was people saying to me, because I started me fan, and I can remember someone commented on it saying, you've just been bullying Ariel and you've started an anti-bullying charity. My charity isn't an anti-bullying charity, for one. It's just a foundation to help people. And two, I haven't bullied Ariel at all. You know, I just said, I shouldn't have, I've said this the other day, we're talking to someone, I shouldn't have called them names. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have. But anyone who was in my position there would understand it. That was fight week. I was waterloading. You know what I mean? It was like Tuesday or Wednesday before my fight. Like, any fighter will understand, you do get a bit arsey. You can't help it. You bite at people. You know what I mean? So when Ariel's name got brought up, I shouldn't have said nasty words. You know what I mean? Said a few nasty words. Everything else is the truth. He wanted me to cancel paid work to come and do an interview with him for free. So I don't understand how people think he's in the right. He wanted me to lose out on money just to get him views.
Is it a thing in the future you think like you could resolve it, that like you come on the show again, that you kind of, because like I feel
no,
like
man.
No, you think
no,
so?
He tried to assassinate my character. He's tried to ruin my career. Simple as. You know what I mean? Like, after the fight, lad, a friend of mine's heavy on Twitter, and he said he saw multiple journalists tweet 29-28 Paddy Pimblett, and then as soon as Ariel's tweeted that was a robbery, they deleted their tweets and put 29-28 Gordon.
Well, that happens every week. That's not just unique to you, no, because someone who pays a lot of attention to the tweets. But yeah, like,
that's a fact, lad. You know what I mean? People just suck his ass and do what he says. It's crazy, lad, because if a Liverpool player and a journalist had an argument, not one fan would back the journalist. But in the MMA world, if a journalist and a fighter have an argument, people back the journalist. It's just, lad, it just doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? I'm the one that gets in the cage and puts my body on the line.
All right, everyone, that is it. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and tune in to everything over on SevereMMA.com.